Good morning, everyone. We are looking at another pretty much crazy severe weather day across much of the Central Plains, including the Ozarks, and we'll show you the enhanced areas here in a minute. I want to start this morning. This is a little bit of a rushed presentation. Just got back in from the road. So this is the HRRR simulated radar, not the gospel, certainly, but this is the latest run, and it does show a couple of interesting things. First of all, we do see the initiation of more showers and thunderstorms pretty rapidly along the dry line right here. That's an I-35 corridor type of event. It wants to congeal those storms into a line of storms that will head, if you watch this carefully here, this actually develops quite substantially. So that's a threat to northern and northwest Arkansas. And we have these individual cells out ahead of these. These are generally not a concern, but some of these individual cells here are definitely supercells, including that one right there. And you can tell, and you'll see in the forecast, that there's a sweeping motion. So when these storms initiate in this corridor here, the sweeping motion is like this. So that is a very typical setup for the Great Plains. We'll go over real quick what these categories mean. We're going to spend a lot of time in this area here. We do have a slight risk area too. There has not been a trigger pulled on high risk yet, which is good, but again, moderate risk is a pretty serious thing. So let's take a look at that forecast for today. Moderate risk includes Oklahoma City, straight down the I-35 corridor, Tulsa, Joplin, and also Springfield, where I live, and much of northwest Arkansas. That's almost the highest risk level there is, 4 out of 5. So that's for all modes of severe weather. High winds, hail, 1 inch or greater is the official criteria. 2-inch hail or greater is going to be common, I think, in a lot of these storms, just so you know, even into the evening hours. So again, initiation is meant to be here, sweeping continuous motion of the storms like this. So what that implies is that earlier on, late afternoon, early evening is when the initiation of these storms will occur, although I saw some evidence that they may initiate earlier than that, or more east, which would mean that the folks on the east side of this, which includes me, would see these quicker if they formed here. And I don't think that's real certain that's all going to be just dry line initiated. So we're going to take a very careful look at that today. The tornado risk is almost coincident with the moderate risk, not quite, but it does include a southwest chunk of Arkansas, or of Missouri, northwest Arkansas, and almost all of eastern Oklahoma, including Tulsa, Oklahoma City. So again, storms that can remain supercellular initially are discrete and moving in this direction here. They may form a line. That line is certainly capable of producing tornadoes in and of itself. And then the significant risk, this is a 10% greater of the higher end tornado possibilities. Usually this is pretty spot on. Yesterday it didn't do real well, but the days before that it really did. So you need to pay attention to this. So this is stronger tornadoes embedded within the higher probability of just getting a tornado. And that includes all the areas you see here, which pretty much includes the moderate risk area and a little bit further to the north. If we look at some of the model output here, the SIPS model in particular, look at this bullseye, comparing this type of pattern to previous patterns. The I-35 corridor raises its ugly head again. The 15% risk of tornadoes is solidly embedded right there from Wichita south to Oklahoma City and south to North Texas. CSU puts that same higher probability in, and there's actually a 30% probability. That's this purple color right here in areas from Oklahoma City just east, almost to Tulsa. So very high. And then the hatched is a significant area. So they drew a bigger significant area, but again, this is just a kind of a micro forecast within the larger forecast. So this is probably where it'll be more intense, but it could be pretty intense north of there too. Hail risk is this. High wind risk is very significant, especially in the moderate risk area. Then we shift this whole thing to Tuesday. It goes to the Tennessee and mid-Mississippi river valleys with a level 3 out of 5 risk from southern Kentucky straight through Nashville, Memphis, northern Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, not quite in that, but Tupelo is. And northern parts of Alabama as well, and then a slight risk surrounding that. There's a tornado risk with this on Tuesday as well. Same areas, but this is a 10% risk, pretty high. Again, these areas, just generally speaking, the last outbreak was horrible for this area. The whole spring has been pretty bad, and pretty much where you see the brown color. That's where most of the tornadoes have occurred, basically, this year. And so this is a kind of a hair-raising situation for these poor folks out there. They have just gotten one tornado after another, strong tornadoes and deadly ones as well. So tomorrow's is something that needs to be watched very carefully too. The CSU model output data for tornadoes puts that bullseye right around Nashville and northern Alabama and a slight chunk of northern Mississippi, with coincident hail risks not as high, severe wind gusts very high. And that's going to be my wrap up for today. Things are moving very rapidly. If you're in the Ozarks, if you've gleaned anything from that, it's not an afternoon event. It's a early evening possibly, but more likely a later evening after 9 event for us. And tornadoes could survive along long track supercells. That's certainly a possibility. We've seen that this spring several times, or we may be looking at line embedded. It looks like we may have a combination of both. I'll bring you more updates later in the afternoon. Thanks for watching today's edition of Severe Thunderstorm Outlooks. This is published every day after the morning Storm Prediction Center update. Also, remember to check that site off on day 1 because they update it fairly frequently. If you like this video, please like it. Also, you can subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.